Hey everybody, it's Backcheck JW, and you're tuned in to Chatbox. It has been a while since we've done Chatbox. I know it's been far too long, and the cool thing is, well, we've done some other stuff, a lot of from the road kind of things, and some bits from the classic old Tucson studios out there. So if you're out here in Arizona, definitely check out old Tucson studios, especially if you're a fan of movies like I am. Movies is my biggest hobby. I love movies. I love watching them. I love collecting them. That's my thing. And that's what a lot of the topics here on this channel is. We have a lot of new subscribers here, so thank you and welcome them aboard. I know a lot of you guys are die-hard subscribers here. You've been here since day one we started this, and this channel has done a lot of different things here, and that's what it's all about. This channel is just a variety of stuff. Also, I got a new playlist down below there. You can check it out. Oddities and Horror, which is just some weirdo stuff involving horror and just some oddball stuff that I've been doing. It's a lot of fun to do. Different types of DVD box sets I've been buying, or Blu-ray box sets. So a lot of that stuff, like I said, the DVD and Blu-ray thing, that's like it's a lot of new stuff for me because I'm the old VHS guy. My family, I remember the debate rather if we should buy VHS or Beta, but you know, back then that was all there was. And then I remember when DVDs came out, it was like, I remember going to like the Walmart or something like that with my family, my mom. And there was like only like 5 titles on DVD, and they were put into a locked case, and you had to get somebody to unlock it, and they were very expensive. So when I saw that, I said, "Nah, the heck with that. I'm sticking with VHS," because I had a VHS collection that would even rival Blockbuster. I wish I would have kept my Blockbuster card. Somebody told me a joke one day. They were buying I don't know if I think it was something that happened. Somebody was buying a bottle of like whiskey or something from a store, and when he went to get his ID, his Blockbuster card fell out of his wallet, and the person said, "Oh yeah, never mind." Like I said, one of the things I love doing is buying DVDs and Blu-rays now. I still actually buy VHS tapes. I actually just bought 2 VHS tapes. I bought Still of the Night with Roy Scheider and Meryl Streep, because that one's kind of hard to find. You really can't. It's on Amazon Prime on streaming, which is, I think, like that's going to be something that's going to be taking up a lot more, but I'm still not used to that. I want a physical copy. On disc, it really doesn't really pop up, and when it does, it's really expensive. So when I saw it on VHS and it was only $0.25, I couldn't grab it fast enough. And I also bought Midnight Cowboy, because that was a really neat VHS cover, because it was one of those old school ones from MGM where it was like a book and it was a larger size, and you open it up like a box of chocolates, and there it is. There's the tape right there in all of its glory, and beautiful silver foil labels and stuff on there. But and then I also bought, like I said, I like when the horror genre is my favorite genre of movies. I really like them because a lot of it has to do with being a kid, a little squirt kid, and going to the video store with my mom on a Friday night, because that was our thing. Typical family of the 80s, running over to the video stores, and I would go running over to the horror section and checking out the horror tapes and stuff, and those covers on there are just the best. Those goofy, goofball looking, cartoonish covers by today's standards. But back in that day, when coming up in in that time, late 80s and stuff, I mean, that was cool stuff. That was really neat. It frightened me. It intrigued me. It challenged me. It was like, hey, look at this. And it was super, like, crazy looking. And it challenged me, like, oh, do I have what it takes to watch this? And, every now and then my mom would let me rent one of them. And I was always trying to buy them from the store. I didn't, for some reason didn't register with me at that time, at that age, that, hey, they need to rent these out. They don't sell them. Every now and then they would sell them, though. They would take them off the shelf and put them in that for sale bin. And I would hit those for sale bins like no tomorrow, man. I was like a treasure chest right there. You look through it and you're just like scouring through all the tapes in there and trying to find something. I remember one time I found in this one local shop. It was called Psycho Cop with Bobby Ray Schaefer, which he's known for a TV show or something. But I remember seeing that on videotape, and it was like you just saw like the cover, and it was like this mysterious eyes looking at you with a police hat on, and then it was like overshadowing a little street, like a street or a town or something. We had the buildings, the outlines of the buildings, and it's something like the last cop you'll ever want to meet. It was just so neat. I remember snagging that up so fast. I just bought it. The minute I had it in my hands, there's no way I was putting that back in the bin. Stuff like that. I remember just, always marveling over those things. So that's probably why the horror genre is so attractive to me, and I just fight tooth and nail to regain that magic that still holds with me. And the one thing I don't like about the DVDs that the videotapes provided was those covers. Now, sometimes they do. They stick with those old videotape artwork, or sometimes like companies like Shout Factory or Scream Factory, whatever they are. There's so many of them I can't remember, or Arrow or somebody, where they've done it where you can reverse the cover slip. And they provided you the new art or something, but they have the other artwork on the other side that you may have remembered from the VHS days. That is neat. To me, that is really cool that those companies do that. Or some will straight up just use the old cover slips, which is important to me. There's some that I bought recently that I was hoping that they would have the original cover slips, and they don't, and it disappoints me. Like recently I bought Body Bags, which is an anthology film that was John Carpenter, Tobe Hooper, all those guys, those great directors. Of course, Tobe Hooper being passed away really sucks, especially when you look back at his breakthrough thing with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the 70s, and just to imagine that most of those people are dead. Just really kind of puts things in perspective, and it's really a sad thing to think that, man, that sucks. And I that's why I would love to get to horror convention or something like that, one of those, and get to meet those guys like Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, a lot of these guys from the past, Tom Atkins, because they're fading away. It's crazy to just think that the time, and that's what it is for me too. It's like realizing that time is moving all too fast, way too fast. Time is just flying by really quickly for me now, and all these guys that I just grew up with, and I think they're just super cool. And it's like you look at, and it's like, man, they're getting up there. They're getting up there in the age. But it's neat to see a lot of them still going. And then, of course, there's like Criterion collections. The Criterion collection stuff is really neat because they do probably the best edition you can get right now. And, of course, it's changing every day. But, I bought The Blob on Criterion with Steve McQueen. Great edition of the movie. Blu-ray. Looks amazing when you watch it. Just spectacular. Although now, something I did recently that I thought I'd never do. I was like, what? That's crazy people do that. I would never do that. That would never be me. I know what I own, which is buying duplicates. And I think it's because maybe I don't have my collection, part of my collection is away in the closet, and I have to kind of get up there and stand on a chair and look at all of them and find out what I have and what I don't have. And it's kind of like, when you have a wall of them and you're like, oh, every title, But I recently did this, and I didn't think I always know, hey, I own that, so I know I don't need to buy that. But for the most part, I do. But this one, I slipped up on. And I was very lucky that I took it back to the record store, and this is also why I support little small stores like that, like Zia Records, Bookman's, and things like that. And I also support Barnes & Noble, because I remember growing up with Borders Books in town, and then it being gone because it went under. People don't support it. They'd rather either, I don't know, whatever it is they do these now, but I want that physical copy still. But no, Zia Records took it right back from me and gave me credit. I told myself, I want store credit. I don't want my money back. I want to spend the money back in your store. But I did that recently. It was with a Nicolas Cage movie. I bought duplicates of that. I could not believe I actually did that, and that's the one that stands out in my mind that I've done. Other than now knowing that I bought so recently, I bought an edition of The Beyond recently. And if you don't know what The Beyond is, The Beyond is a film by Lucio Fulci. It's an Italian horror film, and this is going back to where I was talking about George Romero's films. When George Romero's Dawn of the Dead came out in the 70s, it really impacted a lot of stuff, and a lot of these Italian, like Dario Argento and stuff like that. It spawned us a lot of these zombie type films that were coming out of Italy, and Lucio Fulci was definitely one of those guys that did a lot of those. He did his own, known as Zombie. It's known under so many different titles because it is a foreign flick. It's just it's Zombie 2 or whatnot, but it's I've always remembered it as Zombie. That's usually what it's called, and it's got the old VHS tape was this. The front of it was the profile picture of a zombie's head. It was like maggots and stuff crawling out of its eye socket or whatnot. It was really cool. But I recently bought one of his. It's known as part of his trilogy called The Gates of Hell. And there's City of the Living Dead, The Beyond, and House by the Cemetery. Those are the three that are part of the trilogy if you're going to be into his films. So I recently bought The Beyond on Blu-ray, and it was a special edition. It was a Grindhouse edition. Grindhouse of the old school, kind of strange exploitation, kind of cult following kind of films that were just bizarro stuff, both horror and outlandish stuff that's really out there in the universe kind of thing. But Grindhouse and stuff like that. But this is a copy of the movie. It's a double disc. You had the Blu-ray version of the film, and then you had a whole disc of extras, which I've yet to watch. I'm really excited to watch that. But I bought that. And now, knowing that I already had the standard copy on videotape, or I mean not videotape, DVD, the old copy of DVD, back when those were really hard to come across. Like, they were so rare to find one of those on DVD that if you did find it, they were usually a lot of money. And I remember my best friend during the time that I went to school with, grade school and whatnot, he had an eBay account. I believe it was eBay. And he got it for me off of eBay because he was the one with the account. I just gave him the $20 or whatever it was. And back then, $20 for a film was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that. But that's how much it was. But I bought it, and I still have it. I still have it in the shelf. But this was, but looking back, that was like 15 years ago. I have now the upgraded version with all that. And that's what's neat for me is a lot of these Blu-ray versions of these is stuff that I never really get to see because coming back, I'm a VHS kid. Watching those, and that was the quality. That was top quality for me back then. And when I get to see stuff in Blu-ray, it's like watching a whole nother movie for me. It really is, because I never got to see it that clear. I never got to see it that wonderful, because I'm not from that generation where I wasn't born into these cell phones that are pretty much like used for every kind of thing under the sun, or just miniature computers and stuff and all that. I'm not from there. So to me, it's like watching these things on Blu-ray and stuff. It's like a brand new bit for me. It's like, wow, this is crazy. But that was something I never thought I'd ever do, which is buy a duplicate, and totally unaware that I have the duplicate. Now I want to bolster my my mistake a little bit here with some stuff. Now, mind you, I had moved. This is like where I'm at right now is like the second I moved from one state to this state, then move apartments to another apartment. So with all that, knowing that I probably lost some stuff in between the separation of moving or whatnot, so maybe I can use that as a little bit of an excuse. But anyway, But that's what's going on. You know, moving and doing all that. So yeah, I'll throw that in. I'll use that as an excuse for me buying a duplicate. But no, anyway, yeah, that's what I did. I picked up some of those recently. I said I picked up a couple of copies of VHS, Still of the Night and Midnight Cowboy again. I picked up those. I also have noticed they're re-releasing a lot of these old, really cult films and stuff like that on Blu-ray and whatnot. They're coming out, so I'm really looking forward to picking some of those up. A lot of them are getting expensive. They're getting up there, and they're kind of limited editions. Like I bought, this was like a year ago. I bought the edition, the special box set of House, which is a classic 80s haunted house type film, one of my top favorites easily. Sean Cunningham directed it, I believe, and he's the guy that if you don't know his name, or if his name sounds familiar to you, he brought us Friday the 13th, the original slasher guy coming through, Invincible, spawning 13, 14, 15 films, whatever they're up to now. I stick with the classic 1 through 8 because that's what I grew up with on videotape, and I remember always going to the store and seeing those and like, oh, look at that, you know, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So, but no, House is a great haunted house, cartoonish, outlandish, great film, probably more of a cult following than anything. But I bought that set, and that was from Arrow Video. It's got House and House 2, and I know there's some other ones that are like, I don't know if they're like unofficial or whatnot. There's like House 3, House 4 or something, but I've never been able to find those. I've seen photos of them existing, but I would, if I ever got my hands on them, I probably would snatch them up pretty quick. But I bought this special edition. Comes with those two. Of course, now the original slip covers on reversible side that the original VHS tape would have been. Great. Big thumbs up for me, bringing back my memories. And a book. There's a little flip-through book you can get. And so, but that edition is now, like, I remember I just bought it right off Amazon. No problem. It was like $40 or something like that. But you got 2 movies, the box set, whole bit, and the paper, the book or something like that. So it was kind of worth it. I don't even know if it was $40. It might have been less. But now you try to find it, it's way up there. If you can even find it now. Of course, now there's other editions of the thing you can buy that are a lot cheaper. But if you want that particular edition, it's a lot more money. Like the Phantasm box set, Blu-ray, bought that right there on Best Buy shelf. Saw it, $60, bought it. You had all 5 films, loaded with extras and a book. And it was a box set, Blu-ray. They even put in the reversible slipcover. Again, big thumbs up for that. Reversible slipcovers to the back of the old VHS artwork that I remember, that I grew up with, in their big box set and beautiful. If I would have known what I see now, I would have bought the other one easily. Because now, if you want that box set on Amazon, you're going to pay 200 and something bucks for it. Now, they are releasing them now as a bundle. You know, you can get them on Blu-ray separately or whatnot. But that particular box set, yeah, it's up there in price. But you can get them. You can get them in individual discs and whatnot. Now, part 2 is now suddenly going into the rare mode. Part 2 is getting a little hard to find. On Blu-ray, that is. Now, Phantasm 2, if you're familiar with the Phantasm series, Phantasm 2 was always like the rock star of the bunch. Phantasm 2 was like almost like an action film in a sense. But it's also the rare one because for a long time, it didn't come out on DVD. If you had your VHS copy, that's what you had. And I was one of those guys. I had that copy, and I kept it for all. I wish I would have kept the whole kit, the whole 1 through 4, because I had 1 through 4 on VHS. I wish I would have kept them, man. I want my horror VHS tapes back. But, you know, didn't know. But, you know, that's the one. But you can get them all now. They released it on Blu-ray. It came out on Blu-ray for a little while. I bought it. I was one of the. I bought it the week it came out. I bought it on Blu-ray. Now it's getting a little harder to find. It's kind of going out of print again. And that's what happens with these Phantasm flicks. It's like it's weird. They go out of print. They disappear. So anyway, But that's what I got for you on this chat box. I appreciate everybody tuning in and sticking around with me. So enjoy, you guys, and thank you very much for being subscribed here and being a part of it all.